The artwork I chose for my final paper was The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali. So, about Dali. Salvador Dali was born in Catalunya, Spain on May 11, 1904. At a young age, his family sent him to the San Fernando Academy of Fine Arts. In 1923, he was suspended for criticizing the teacher's artwork and teaching style. He returned 3 years later, but was again expelled for saying no one was good enough to criticize his work. With the world wars happening during the heart of his career, his political stance got him kicked off the Surrealist movement for not taking a stance against the Spanish military. Toward the end of Dali's life, he dedicated much time to building the Teatro Dali. This was a museum dedicated to Salvador Dali's career. So, the persistence of memory. The persistence of memory was once described by Dali as nothing more than the soft, extravagant, solitary, paranoid, critical camembert cheese of space and time. The setting looks to be off the coast of Spain where he grew up. The beach seamlessly meets the water and the water dissolves in the sky. This is all surrounded by a jagged cliff range which the water has worn away at. In the front, you see what looks to be a desk on the beach with a dead tree growing out of it. To the right of the desk, there's an object that is hard to identify. It looks to be a piece of driftwood or a rolled up blanket that is washed up on the beach. To the left middle, you see the focal point of the artwork, the 4 different clocks. One of these clocks is draped over the branch of the dead tree with its hands pointing at 6:10. Another clock is laid over what I believe to be the blanket with its hands at 12 o'clock. The third clock is placed half on top of the desk and half hanging towards the ground with the hands at 7:50. The last clock is smaller and in a normal shape and is placed on top of the desk. Balance and color. The painting has great balance and color throughout. Having most of the clocks on the left side, he offset them with the cliff that's further away from our point of view. As for the unknown object towards the middle, the bottom, he uses color and line to create dunes towards the water to balance out the object. The baby blue, white, and light brown sky is offset by the dark bottom and tan right side of the canvas. There are cool colors towards the top of the canvas where the sky is. It is then met with a neutral brown, then carries down to the base of the cliff where there is an amber red, along with an amber red clock on the opposite side. The other 3 clocks sprinkle in cool gray, blue, and white to the left side of the neutral colored sand. Blending shadows and shape. Salvador Dali's use of shadows and blending give the artwork dimension and definition. The cliff in the background of the painting, you see the depth of it due to the shadows that are used to make the jagged edges come off the canvas. In the midground, Dali blends brown to make it look like there is more sunlight towards the back. He also blended color to give the brown beach a sense of elevation. In the foreground, on the desk, is where you can clearly see the use of shadows to give the clocks and the edge of the desk some depth and draw your eye to them. To the left of the olive tree on the desk, you can clearly see the shadows as well, which gives us an idea of where the sun is in the sky. When looking at the painting, Dali used shape to draw your eye to the clocks. Dali keeps some of the oval shape to the clocks, but warps the shape to make them flexible and draw your eye to them and make them the main point of the painting. So, the meaning behind it. In the book, The Life and Masterwork of Salvador Dali, it says, in 1930, Dali began to expand his work with disappearing visual images, the acute likeness that exists between different objects. Many believe the look of the melting clocks is because it is combined with a block of cheese. One night, after a camembert dinner, Dali stayed back as his wife and friends went to a movie. Dali was thinking about the idea of super soft. That's where the camembert cheese came to mind. But Dali, being a surrealist, I believe the painting is a dream that he had about the super soft. I think the time is the duration of the sleep or the time while he was in the bizarre setting. So how Dali and the persistence of memory became famous. During the 1920s, Dali introduced the ideal of surrealism, which brought a whole new genre to the art industry. His painting, The Persistence of Memory, was the first that embodied the genre as a whole, and that's why the work of art is so well known and so important in the art world. In 1930, 3 years after the release of it, Dali was introduced to an American art dealer. His name was Julian Levy, and he brought the artwork to the United States. He put it in a New York City art show where its popularity grew rapidly. Nearly 88 years after its creation, it's home at the Museum of Modern Arts in New York City. In conclusion, Salvador Dali and his work had a huge impact in the art world. The complexity of his works has critics still talking about it nearly 100 years later. His use of different elements of art boosted his work to catch the attention of historic artists such as Picasso. Dali emerged from his difficulties and created one of the most famous works of art, The Persistence of Memory. And here are my references. Thank you.